We're gonna vote on it.
All right, everybody, is this is already live, right? Is this live? I think so.
Yep.
Okay. Can you, oh, they can't see me. Oh, there I am. Hello.
There you are.
We're gonna get started in about 5 minutes. We're just waiting for what we call in good New York English the schleppers to come in. Yeah. I didn't even know that was Yiddish. I thought it was, oh, it's New York.
Yeah.
But then again, when you are New York, you might as well be Jewish, Greek, Latino, Irish, all of it, Italian. Oh, don't say that. No bad word. So good evening, everybody. Oh, okay. I don't know why people cannot see me. This is too tilted.
You have to move it.
You know what? Hold on. There I am. Oh, there I am. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the last meeting of this session. CB12 PCA Parks and Cultural Affairs. My name is Luana Ferreira. I am your chair, and I am joined by the lovely, the wonderful co-chair, Alexis Marnell, who takes wonderful minutes, keeps me honest. I want to say sober, but yeah.
I've never been accused of keeping anybody sober.
So welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. We're still waiting for quorum. We have some adjustments in the agenda because we don't have any resolutions. It is okay to proceed as such as the rest of the members trickle in. We're going to start. Oh, you know what? Let me just check my participants. Are you okay?
I think it's a Gmail.
All right, we're going to give it 1 minute for Alexis to get into Gmail so that she can start taking minutes. All right, and I'm going to start promoting. For those of you that are joining online, if you can please, next to your name, also add the name of your organization. That will help everybody tremendously in identifying you and the organization that you represent. That'll be fantastic. Catherine Hughes from Morris Jamel has joined. We're going to start with our programming updates. And because Marty Collins was here first, I'm going to give him the privilege to present first. Marty, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone at home and here in the office. I want to thank you all. I'm Martin Collins, the Uptown Art Stroll Coordinator at the Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance. This is the 23rd Uptown Art Stroll in Washington Heights, Inwood, and Harlem. It started on Friday, May 30th, with a wonderful opening. 266 people attended Sugar Hill Museum opening when they ate us out of house and home. And we've had two wonderful concerts so far. The first The Dykeman Farmhouse Museum, 115 people turned up to see Annette A. Aguilar and String Beans on Monday, June 2nd. And last night we had 110 people turn up to Haven Plaza right here on 168th and Fort Washington Avenue to see the Langston Hughes. None of the members of that band, by the way, are older than 25 years old. They were absolutely incredible. And only that we had an hour to the show, they would have kept people there in the plaza longer. Our next concert coming up will be on Monday, June 16th at the Hispanic Society Museum and Library, the Harambe Dance Company, followed June 23rd by the Berta Moreno Quintet. That is a wonderful, wonderful band. She'll be playing at the Montefiore Square Park at 137th Street and Broadway. And the art stroll closing will also feature a wonderful group, the Lexiglass featuring Sweet Lee with Veronica Lou's husband, Will Glass, playing his trio at the Morris Jamel Mansion on Monday, June 30th from 6 to 9 p.m. Please join us for a wonderful evening. We'll have some prizes and wonderful raffle items to give away that evening. In the meantime, there's scores of open studios, exhibitions, and events taking place in West Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood. There are open studios in all three neighborhoods, Inwood, Washington Heights, and West Harlem this weekend. I encourage you to check out the stroll guide, the QR code, or go directly to the website, nomanyc.org, where the calendar of events online contains all that is happening that we have received from 125th Street to 220th Street through June 3rd.
Thank you, Marty.
Got that little thing to send me one?
You still have 10 seconds. Any questions for Marty?
You gonna send that to me, Marty?
Yes, I
Thank
will. I'll email that to you tomorrow.
Yes, yay.
Okay. So the next person that I'm going to allow is Joy Hecht.
Thank you.
2 minutes to present programming.
Okay, do I have to sit someplace so that people?
No, the owl,
It's gonna turn around.
yeah, it turns around.
Anyway, I'm from Berlin River Community Rowing. You might all know that. So Bob over here. Our programs are ongoing. We've had lots of people rowing. We've had, we finished our first course. It was programs starting our second one in a day or two, I think. We've gone to some races already. We're doing a bunch of them this summer and more in the fall. A couple things. Yeah, we also plans for City of Watergate. We're going to be hosting an event at City of Watergate jointly with New York. So there's a certain amount of coordination between Scott Marsh and Peter J. Boathouse. We're having fun races between us and their alums. So we'll see how that goes in a place where everybody can see us, and then we're going to change the youth rowers for them and of course for us. That should be fun. City of Watergate, the 22nd.
July 12th.
July 12th. We may be doing a information table. That's what the
That's right.
our board is going to talk about that.
Alexis just salivated.
Well, yeah, she's the one who approached us about it. So
All right, you don't have to like say it like that.
mention that you may or may not be aware about is that we've been involved with some advocacy with Harlem River, working group on this proposal to change the water quality classification of the Harlem River. It's something we are somewhat concerned about. I don't know if you guys are already aware of this. Essentially, it's a complicated issue, so I can't say much. But it's a proposal from DC state. They want to reclassify it in a category that essentially says you don't have to clean it up to make it fishable, swimmable when there's floods. Right now, it's in a classification under the Clean Water Act where that's supposed to be gold, that's required to be gold. But they created a new category that essentially says we're never going to get there. So now we're calling it fishable, swimmable because sometimes it's going to. And there's a lot of groups opposed to this. We got the press conference last Tuesday that will impress it. So that's something I can tell you guys more about. I'm probably out of time on this now, but I can do that. So I'll stop there.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, Tracy.
Hello. Evening.
Good evening. No worries. So now I am going to move on to programming announcements online. You have a question?
I'm gonna have an announcement.
You have an announcement? Okay. Do you want to do it first?
No, go
I
ahead,
do
do it.
I do give CB12 members Oh, chewing. All right, so we're gonna go with Julie McCoy,
Hello, everyone. I'm Julie McCoy. I'm the,
Canoe Club. Thank you, Julie.
that's right. That's right. I'm the Commodore of the Inwood Canoe Club, and I'm happy to say that we have our regular summer walk-up free kayaking program in full swing. We've had 3 so far. I'm happy to say that we've had a total of 63 guests across all of those. We think it's a little bit slow because of the weather and also because Memorial Day weekend, which is the first weekend that we operate, was very early this year. But we're off to a good start. We've also had some youth programming from our partner organization, Uptown Paddling. And we've also, since we met last, had 2 of our shoreline cleanups, one with Riverkeeper, one with Friends of Inwood Hill Park. And between the 2 of those, we've found 13 full bags of trash and 4 bags of recycling. So happy to keep things clean. I'm also happy to say that we are also planning to participate in City of Water Day on Saturday, July 12th of this year. And we are hoping to do this at Muscoda Marsh. We've had some great support from our friends in parks here, and we are going to basically have our regular open house program that afternoon. We are going to be very communicative about this with the public through our newsletter, through our website, and through social media, since it will be on a different day and a different location. But we're really looking forward to it to see what it's like to paddle up there in Muscoda Marsh near the Big C. So that's it. I invite everyone to come to our open house every Sunday morning, except for the weekend of July 12th, when it will be Saturday in Muscoda Marsh, 10 to 12. That's when we'll be doing things on Sundays. It'll be in the afternoon on City of Waters Day. We're totally switching it up. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you.
I said chewing.
You're good?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give the floor to a fellow committee member. Oh, you know what? I didn't even do my chair report. I just went straight into like programming. I apologize to that. My chair report, if I can just insert myself in the middle of programming. Parks tonight is taking center stage because we want to make sure that our constituencies are informed about the summer, what's happening. Everybody knows, once again, that this is our last meeting for parks. But in the interim, I was able to attend a joint meeting with Act Now and Parks. And I was able to see how parks priorities get recorded in real time, right, Jenna? And I saw that the presentation was so useful that I invited Parks to, in addition to Parks presenting programming, capital improvements, we have a study tonight. You will also get to see the Vital Parks Initiative, which is intended to plot immediate needs in real time. Is that fair, Jenna? You can explain it during, but that's what that was the takeaway. So that is my chair report. That was one activity that I was able to attend and participate. And I'm looking forward to the Uptown Stroll, Tavern Night at the Morris Jamel Mansion. Catherine, I'm going to give you your time for your presentation. And there's also roller skating night. Everybody knows that I'm a huge roller skater. So come out on Friday night, and I'm going to tell Jenna also too. Yeah, I got my sparkly skates.
Where's roller skating?
I am the law for 4 o'clock, but she's gonna say it. She's gonna say it again. I'm just like shilling for it because I'm a huge roller skating fan. All right. With that said, Catherine, take it away. Morris Jamel Mansion, welcome.
Sure, thank you very much,
Oh, I'm
Luana.
sorry.
I'm Catherine Hughes, Director of the Morris Jamel Mansion. We have a busy summer kicking off here in June. The Tavern Night, as you said, I'll kind of go backwards. Tavern Night is July 18th. That's going to be a rollicking good time on the mansion grounds in Roger Morris Park and the house. So please do get your tickets. They're online on our website at www.morrisjamel.org. But in June, we have community day, which is going to be with parks. People can come down on June 21st and they can work with Jana and Carlos to clean up the park and perhaps paint some stuff. That is from 2 to 4, and then at 5, I'm sorry, that's 2 to 4, and then at 4 o'clock, we have the Washington Heights Chamber Orchestra playing a concert for free. So please do join us. You can bring a chair or a blanket and sit on the grounds and enjoy the music. And then we have next Wednesday night, the 18th, a really fun evening virtual parlor chat for free. This one is with our friend down the way, Dan Lavitano, who is at the Trinity Cemetery. He also happens to be the big Revolutionary War buff. So he is going to really do a lovely presentation on building a new nation and how George Washington did things from the Morris Jamel Mansion. So when we had the Battle of Harlem Heights, how did Washington do it? Dan is going to talk about that. But on Saturday, and I'll end here, we have an opening set for our milestone exhibition, What the House Saw, 260 Years of Story from the Morris Jamel Mansion, community and collection. So we're bringing out things that we don't normally offer, out on the exhibit. And people have also loaned us some amazing things from the community. So we're very excited to show that off. And that opens this Saturday.
Just in time, Catherine. You know that I allow like a 5-second grace.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Just now.
So thank you so much for that. I will be buying my ticket for Tavern Night. Tracy has a question for you.
All those
Thank you.
wonderful events, all those wonderful events on this Saturday, the 21st, the cleanup and then afterwards the music, is that one sign up or 2 separate signups that one would
I'll
have
be
to
talking
do?
about
Well,
that in my report.
Actually, yeah, you don't have to.
We are
sign up
so
to do
extra
stuff.
tonight. I love it.
Catherine's
Um,
right. Did you hear Catherine? Just show up. That's my favorite kind of sign up.
All right, all right, cut it. Just go.
Yeah, you can just come to the park.
Come on, you party pooper, come on.
Such a party pooper.
You're selective party pooper.
I really am.
All right. We're not going to be the needle on the child's balloon tonight. Thank you for that. I just have an announcement from Hillary Russ. Thank you so much. Hi there, just a word of advice that the kayakers are free to ignore if they're already aware. When the ride goes out at Muskota Marsh, it is pure mud. Jet skiers routinely get stuck in there. And I have answered that question live. Just a quick reminder, we do not address anonymous questions because it's a matter of tide. It's the tide. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. I don't have my glasses on. Oh, the ride. Well, she did type ride. Okay, tide. I don't know any nautical terminology. I just learned about, what is it, wake? Like yeah, I just learned about that. Wake for me is like somebody dies, you cry. Okay. I know, morbid. Thank you for that. Yes, Julie has answered. And just a friendly reminder that as a matter of public records, we only address questions with names attached to them. So thank you for that. With that, I'm sorry. My co-chairs, sorry about that. Yes, Alexis, you have an announcement, programming announcement. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
For Classical Theater of Harlem, we begin our 13th annual free Uptown Shakespeare in the Park series at Richard Rogers Amphitheater, Marcus Garvey Park in Harlem. Beginning Sunday, reopening night, we have a preview on July 5th. Opening is July 6th. This year we are presenting Memnon. It is the first time in 2,000 years that this has actually received a historical investigation. It is about the Ethiopian king Memnon, who was at the Battle of Troy. And we will be presenting a play about that. It is infused with music and dance and rooted in the African diaspora. On Thursdays and Sundays, we have the Harlem Night Market in conjunction with Best of Harlem and Uptown Grand Central. If you are a community partner that would like to table, please email me, alexis@cthnyc.org. We do health screenings. We have TDF will be there. We're going to do cancer, skin cancer screenings this year, blood pressure, etc. So we'll have some other various community organizations and government. And nonprofit and government organizations will be there to table. Thursday through Sunday, the night market is all Harlem entrepreneurs. And that starts at about 6 o'clock and that goes till 8:30. The vendors usually stay till after the show, and that is it.
Thank you. Just, you're taking time, Danny, right? Great. We do have quorum, though we don't have any resolutions to pass tonight, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. Danny, you have an announcement.
Yeah,
I have a question about Alexis's announcement.
Go
about
right ahead.
classical
I believe
music.
you can answer.
Wonderful. My question is it's a play in an amphitheater. Would you say that it's family friendly or more sort of traditional quiet play?
Well, no, because we have music. So we have about, I think, like 10 dancers. We always do that, and we always have music. So last year when we did Midsummer Night's Dream, it was set during the Harlem Renaissance, and we had Lindy Hoppers, and it was great. So, but this play in particular,
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring,
Okay, so more of adult fare than.
I would
overall.
say teenagers.
Right.
Let's say middle
Yeah.
school, even. What? No.
PG-13.
yeah.
Hmm. I don't know. How do they rate things these days? I really don't
No,
know.
but
But
that's
I
a
would say
good vibe of more of a quiet.
I would
sort
not
of
bring
play
this. I wouldn't bring
than,
like the I
focus.
wouldn't bring, the toddlers and the
And
even some of the kids really do like it, but it really depends on your child. If your child has an interest in theater, that's a whole nother story because we've had a lot of like 8, 9, 10-year-olds who are into theater and come and like really wait till the end and come down to the stage and wait for the actors, and it's really quite sweet. But I would say for the most part, make it in a semi-adult outing.
I love Tracy. Tracy always has the insightful questions and she extends them to make sure that people understand what certain activities are about. And I appreciate you for that, Tracy. Danny, you have an announcement?
My announcement is on behalf of the Ring Garden, calling all artists, join us as we celebrate our local artists. We will have artwork by, it was come one, come all. That's how I like to kind of like put everything. We will have artworks by visual artists, painters, sculptors, poets, singers, dancers, photographers, and all of them are from Uptown Manhattan or the surrounding areas of Uptown. The show is on June 14th, 2025 from 12 to 5 p.m. We will also have like performances. Rain date is June 15th, 2025. Be on the lookout for information on Artman and Instagram Artman Dan. In regards to the weather, so I'm just like kind of like looking at it, and it might be pushed over to the 15th, but let's pray that it's at least like just cloudy. But yeah, and it's located on the Riverside Drive and Dyckman and Broadway Triangle.
Dyckman Seaman.
Yeah, Dyckman and Seaman. Take the A train over to Dyckman or the one train.
No A train for the next 3 weeks.
Whichever bus leads you up there to Dyckman Street. So Dyckman, head over to Seaman. Yeah,
Dyckman and Seaman, right
Dyckman
there.
and Seaman, right there.
The MTA, they suck.
At all?
Yeah, I yield my time.
They
30
couldn't
seconds.
go five on the seat and they did.
All right. Do you have anything? No.
1 second.
Right. Okay. Any questions for Danny or for anybody in the room that has missed out? Okay. Maeve, do you have any announcements on behalf of the Hudson Sailing Club?
Do. Hello, everybody. Checking in here from Hudson River Community Sailing. We are wrapping up our school year. We have our graduation for the students in our middle school program. It is open to the public. We're going to do a ceremony with the kids this Saturday, the 14th. They're going to bless and sail the wooden boats they built over the winter, unveil their winter projects, and have a little graduation. Everyone is welcome to come down. We are well into our season on the public side. As a reminder, we do membership lessons, adaptive sailing for New Yorkers with disabilities. We do monthly free community sailing days. And this year we're adding community sailing day capability for people with disabilities, including wheelchair users. So our second community day of the season is June 22nd, which is the Sunday after, it's the Sunday after this one. And then we have them in July, August, September, and October. Finally, we are in the process of communicating with Parks and planning for the planned closure of Dykeman Marina next year for the reconstruction. So we launched a website. I'll share it in the chat. It's dykemanmarina.org. And we're going to use it both to share our position with the shutdown, what we would like to see come out on the other side. And then we'll also put updates there as we get them in terms of our status, the project, etc. I think that's all I've got.
Maeve?
Yes.
Can I, to make my life easier, and this is purely selfish, I really don't care. Can you send all that to me?
Can you send a blurb to
Absolutely.
Alexis
Yes.
for the sake of minutes and minutes clarity?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that
And
okay?
I'll
Thank you.
share with you the link where all of our community days are on our website.
That would be fantastic. We appreciate that.
Thank you. And you all are welcome to come down and spread the word. We are sold out of the free sales ahead of time, but we will have more than enough space for walk-ups for people who get there early.
When is sale day again?
Yeah, the free sailing days on June 22nd, so a week from Sunday.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My parents have been here in this lovely island from another island since 1968. And they've never been on the Hudson River other than the Circle Line back in the 70s. So I'm wondering, can I take them on the 22nd? And but then they're senior citizens. So is it safe for them to get
100%.
on the water? Okay.
Yes, 100%.
Make
Yes.
this
We always
happen.
say it's good from 8 to 80. And even honestly, we have a member of our sailing club who's 89. So yes, it's what we specialize in. And like I said, we get blind New Yorkers out. We get New Yorkers who use wheelchairs. It's accessible for all. That's like one of the things that we do. And you don't need to know how to swim or sail in order to sign up.
Very good. We will see you there. Hopefully we'll just be walk-ins. But one thing that I would encourage you, Maeve, is to also make these presentations in the committee for aging, because I'm quite sure that there are a lot of homebound senior citizens that would love to get into the water. And if you have those facilities, particularly because our chair is somewhat mobile impaired, I'm quite sure she will love to be there. And then maybe we can pair with local transportation for senior citizens to get into the water.
And in fact, in the
Great.
fall,
Yeah, that sounds great. I will do that.
in the fall, you should reach out to her, Mary Anderson. She's the chair of the Committee on Aging. She would love to have you present at her committee.
That sounds great. Yeah.
A lot of people, she does it, it's done during the day, so that a lot of the seniors attend there themselves.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be great.
Excellent. Sounds good. I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, just trying to like cross-pollinate efforts. Let's see. All right. So if there's anybody else that has a programming update, Caio, I see you. I try to promote you, but you decline. Do you have any updates on behalf of the New York Restoration Project? Caio. Let's see. Going once, going twice. Okay, so if I did not call on you for programming updates, you are welcome to hang out until new business, because I'm going through this list of participants and I don't see anybody else that should be making a presentation that is not on the agenda, meaning programming. So let's see the attendees. Oh, wait a minute. Kaya's here. Kaya Samurkas, I'm promoting you. Friends of Inwood Hill Park, take it away. All right, let's wait for her to join as Kaya, are you there?
Yes, can everybody hear me now?
There you go. There she is.
I actually just got back from the park, so I'll keep the video off to spare everyone the humidity here. But we've had a really great start to our summer. So we started our bilingual fire ecology walks working with a naturalist. She's wonderful. We're going to be doing these once every month thanks to the NYC Green Fund grant that we received from the City Parks Foundation. So we're very excited to have that kind of support and bring in the education and climate change awareness element in addition to the planting and erosion control work that we've been doing. The rain has been making it difficult, but we're holding on. We're also getting ready for a City of Water Day, which is going to be on June 12th. So City of Water Day with us is going to be shoreline cleanups. Pardon? July 12th, yes. July 12th for City of Water Day. So we're going to be doing shoreline cleanups, and we're also going to be doing wetland stewardship. So getting pretty much as close to in the water as you can without a boat or a swimsuit. I can send along a little blurb for Alexis if you like, but those are the two main things. And then our regular stewardship events are happening throughout the summer. They happen every weekend, and our upcoming one is going to be on Father's Day. So if you would like to bring the father in your life, they are walk up, no registration or equipment required, and we take you as you are. And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaya. Any questions for Kaya? Thank you. So, these strawberries are so good. Yeah.
Luana, if you want to bring your parents, I will take anybody. 8 to 8.
Oh, you're
Take
so
them all.
sweet. You are so sweet. And you just sounded like, circa 1990s Nirvana, Come As You Are. So
Absolutely. I mean,
Kurt Cobain.
I
think
think
you meant it that way.
Volunteer is 81. So Hudson Sailing is beating us by a few years, but she'll get there. Her husband is 93. So he's 93. All right.
Thank you for that. So I'm going to go back to my attendees. Oh, that was Kaya's time. Thank you, Kaya. I'm going to go back to the attendees. If you have any program updates, please raise your hand so that I can promote you to panelists. Other than that, then I'm going to move to parks. As I said, they are taking front and center. We have some studies. We have this Vital Parks initiative. We have our capital improvements update. So in celebration of our last meeting, I'm going to start with Liz. What's your last name, Liz? Kernick. She's going to be presenting on behalf of Parks a study on the Washington retaining wall and greenway. So, thank you. I love these presentations, like ready to go. Question, Danny.
10 minutes or 20 minutes?
No, 10 minutes. Presentations are 10 minutes.
And the part.
They're individual now, because you know that Parks does. Oh, do you want to do your programming update first, or do you want to consolidate it? Combine. It'll be easier.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
so this is 10 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Right. Good evening. Thanks everyone for your attention. My name is Liz Koenig. I'm a project manager with the New York City Parks Capital Project Division. I'm here this evening with our consultant engineering team, Stantec and Melissa Johnson Associates, to present the capital project scoping development study for the retaining wall and greenway in Fort Washington Park. During the presentation, we'll provide some history and background, a study overview, our community outreach strategy, and we'll take some questions if we have time. First, history and background. The area of our study is the Hudson River Greenway, which runs along the northbound Henry Hudson Parkway between the George Washington Bridge and Dyckman Street.
You make that a little bigger first.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move front. Yeah, you're gonna have to move. Yeah, we can't make it bigger. Yeah, thank you.
Where is it located? I'm sorry, can you repeat that for me?
George Washington Bridge and Dyckman, along the Henry Hudson Parkway.
So this is essentially like the breakdown.
It's the greenway.
Yeah.
It's walking, biking, rollerblading, whatever people do. It's the greenway.
Next slide, Jesse, thanks.
So as I imagine many of you are aware and or have personally experienced, this segment of the Greenway has experienced ongoing issues with the development of sinkholes over the past years. It's an issue that impacts the entire stretch of this corridor. The Greenway has been closed due to these sinkholes and their repairs for several months over the past years. Several years ago, Parks began a systematic effort to understand the underlying issue. Next slide. A primary asset implicated in the CPSD study is the retaining wall, which supports the Henry Hudson Parkway Greenway and the Henry Hudson Parkway itself. The wall is 1.25 miles long. It runs from the George Washington Bridge up nearly to Dyckman Street. It's a rubble stone wall, which reaches a maximum height of approximately 45 feet. That's a person in the photo there. It's a gravity type retaining wall, which means that it's essentially a large stack of stones. This wall dates to 1892 and the construction of Boulevard Lafayette. It was segments were reconstructed in the 20s and the 30s, as late as some segments being reconstructed in the early 2000s.
That is a person sitting.
Yes.
Wow.
Standing.
Okay.
Scale.
It's to see the scale that this wall is massive. Yeah.
Person standing.
Yeah.
Standing.
Yeah. Here, let me do it for the people online.
Next slide. Thank you. Here are two photos of the retaining wall dating to 1910 toward Billings Estate. You can see that the road was dirt. It had a timber guardrail.
If I may real quickly, Billings Estate, the house up there, that now is Linden Terrace effectively at Fort Tryon Park. That's the direction you're looking at.
Is that little house that's on the side?
No, that's my,
Yeah, right.
no, that's the gatekeeper's cottage. His estate is no longer, but if you see that house, I've just given you perspective that that's essentially where Linden Terrace is now.
Next slide, Jesse, thanks. So in the 1920s, the roadway was improved for the extension of Riverside Drive. The road was paved, a concrete sidewalk was added, the parapet was constructed along the top of the wall. We see here the construction of Inspiration Point, which also reconstructed a segment of wall. You can see here the stack of stones. Next slide, Jesse. And again, in the 1930s, some additional segments of the wall were reconstructed to straighten out some of the curves of Riverside Drive. So in addition to looking at historic photos, Parks also gathered and reviewed historic maps and topographic surveys. We located and reviewed drawings, including construction drawings for the roadway, the historic American engineering record, and master plans. We worked with our sister agency to identify the utilities along the corridor. We also worked with our partner agencies to do investigations. We dye tested some of the drainage infrastructure and sinkholes. State Department of Transportation helped us with some test pits. Parks conducted boring. So again, over the past couple of years, we've really been delving into what's causing the issue. The culmination of our efforts to date supported our request for the capital project scope development study, which is what we're engaged in now. So the format of this study is that we will be further investigating the root cause of these issues. We're going to be developing scope. Our consultants will generate a cost estimate for work, and then we'll submit that request for funding to the city. While the scope of our study and any ultimate capital project will focus on the retaining wall, we want to make sure that we're thinking big. If we're going to be reconstructing such a massive asset, we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way where we're considering the future goals and priorities and needs of the corridor. And with that, Jesse, I'll hand it over to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Liz. This is Greg Kavanaugh. I'm a civil engineer working for Stantec, and we are the consultant and design lead for this project. So I'll opine a little bit on what Liz was talking about and identify what the feasibility scope is, some of the topics of investigation, and try to highlight what the end objectives are for this assessment. So here on the graphic, the red line outlines kind of the area of interest for the study. It includes the Greenway and the Henry Hudson Parkway northbound corridor. The northern bound limits on the left-hand side of the page is Dyckman Street, and then it's bounded to the south at the George Washington Bridge. The critical feature of this investigation is the retaining wall highlighted by the yellow line. But it is worth noting all the other facility assets highlighted here on the page, including Inspiration Point and Billings Arcade. These are not directly related to what we're studying, but we are considering, how those could impact future approaches. So the existing greenway is a shared use path that is situated directly on top of the retaining wall. It's about a 10-foot wide asphalt pathway and a variable width green space that separates, what the pedestrians and cyclists use from the Henry Hudson Parkway northbound roadway. The facility, unfortunately, is burdened with some existing deficiencies along its length. So the areas in blue are actually pinch points where the pathway bottlenecks down to a width of almost 6 to 7 feet wide. That's due to just the curvature of the existing parkway and how the retaining wall is laid out geometry-wise. So on top of the narrow points being not preferable for cyclists and pedestrians to share those tight spaces, it also causes some challenges for vehicular access and maintenance and operations for the facility itself. Furthermore, the pink areas are where you can enter the greenway in areas of egress. And the red line identifies for this almost the entire length of our study area, an entire portion of this greenway where there's no entering or exiting. So the access along here is very limited. What this kind of results is anytime there's maintenance requirements or construction repairs or anything like that, the entire greenway must be closed for a long stretch, detouring cyclists and pedestrians around. And also the areas in yellow highlighted on the left side of the page, these are some steep slopes and ADA routes or non-accessible ADA routes that are existing in the current condition. So the main objective is to identify the root causes of the sinkholes and fix them. We want to address the issues for the entire corridor, and we want to improve infrastructure so we have a facility free of sinkholes moving forward. But Parks has also identified that this is an opportunity for a broader study of how we can enhance the corridor and explore opportunities for improvements to things like, let's say, accessibility, efficient use of space for all modes of transportation, and to facilitate improved maintenance and operation for the park. The greenway or the corridor of study is servicing vehicles, cyclists, pedestrians, and it's also multi-jurisdictional because of its location with the roadway. This is not an exhaustive list, what's shown here on the page, but we just wanted to highlight the complexities of this study and everything that we're trying to consider. While this is a parks initiative, we believe that successful planning will require the engagement and collaboration and partnership with these agencies and different community groups. And we see that as a benefit to help inform our analysis to come out with a successful feasibility study. And then I'll quickly highlight here some of the ongoing investigations that we are performing to help provide a complete picture to help inform our analysis and assessment. We're going to expand on the previous studies that the Parks Department has already completed to help give us a comprehensive understanding of what the existing conditions really are. So we're going to be performing survey, doing deep research into what the existing soils are, what's happening behind the wall, under the greenway, under the roadway. We'll be doing a complete tree inventory, characterizing the types of vegetation out there to help inform our analysis and make sure we're protecting trees in the park. We'll be doing hazardous material testing all along the length of our study area, trying to help identify what any work that we identify will be a part of the analysis. Make sure that we have the abatement and removals as part of that. And finally, and definitely not last, We will be doing a traffic impact study. We'll be doing counts of both, not just bikeway, but also vehicular counts. This will help inform the possibilities we have for our analysis and help drive conversations with DOT. We'll be exploring permanent and options during construction for MPT and detours.
Thank you, Greg.
with-
We did an extra 5 minutes, so yeah, I have some questions, so we need to wrap. Yeah, go ahead.
These are our last couple slides. So thanks, Jesse. Yeah, try to move through the
Yeah.
community outreach pretty efficiently. Thanks.
I'll be quick. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessie Cohen, leading the engagement and outreach for this project. There's a wide range of in-person activities and also online tools we're going to be using throughout the study. We're going to be having some pop-up events where we're going to be distributing a community survey for folks to fill out. That's a way for us to understand park goers' experience of the study area and also improvements that folks would like to see. Here we are with a briefing to the community board. We're also going to be doing some flyering. The survey that I mentioned will be online on our website, and we're also going to be doing some social media. Some of the folks that we're going to be engaging, we want to make sure that we're reaching anyone who's interested in this project or could be impacted by the changes that we're going to be looking into. In terms of the timeline, we're looking at having a community listening session, which is a public meeting of sorts. We're going to be having that. We're looking at July. We're also going to be launching a survey around then and having those pop-up events that I mentioned to distribute the survey. Our website will be live for the full length of the project. All of our materials will be bilingual. That's very central to all of the outreach that we do. And then we'll be having a second listening session around the fall of this year.
Oh, great, fantastic, just in time. Thank you so much. I'm going to privilege the board to ask questions first, but I have the first question. And was this the same presentation that was done in conjunction with DOT about this greenway? No, right? That was something else. I guess my question is, what are the risk factors of these sinkholes? Because whenever I hear about the retaining wall along Riverside Drive and the Henry Hudson Parkway, I remember that collapse at Castle Village, and I don't want a repeat of that. So are we preempting, or is this like to get ahead of what might happen?
So as part of our studies, we have several qualified retaining wall inspectors and structural engineers who have been looking at this wall. It's actually not a concern of the structure of the wall itself. The wall itself is sound. It is an issue of just as we continue our investigations of materials behind the wall washing away. And so that actually makes the wall less of an issue. The less material you have behind the wall, the less it's supporting. But the wall itself is stable.
Hey, thank you. Committee questions, Danny? And then you want to ask?
I just,
You go ahead.
regarding the community engagement portion, I know you said flyering, but I really want to just stress, and this is for all the organizations, this is a papering community. Do not assume everybody has Wi-Fi access. It is not, they do not. This is a community that suffers from not having Wi-Fi access. So please paper as much as possible. Do not assume that everyone is going to your website all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis. Danny?
I have a question. If we're fixing the sinkhole, what is the community outreach part for? Like, is the community outreach for getting ideas like how to I don't know, like
Oh, it's a
yeah, it's like a sinkhole, but then we have community, so like then that would extend the time of it being fixed.
So I'll take that question. The reason we're interested in reaching out to the community is so that we're listening to the community's goals for the corridor in general. What would you like to see? For example, we know that some community members are very interested in having part of the bike path on the parkway, is that a possibility? We're doing a
Right.
traffic study to see if that's possible. Ideas you have about, other ways to separate pedestrians and cyclists, whether you'd like to see, what kinds of things you'd like to see reactivated, basically just your visions and goals. Because this wall is very large, it's very extensive, expensive to reconstruct, and we're thinking that we're going to have to potentially move segments of this wall. And if we're going to be doing that, we want to make sure that we have goals in our mind
Right.
for what we want to see ahead.
Can I add
Yes,
one? I
please
mean,
Go ahead, Jana,
at
yeah.
The local, that's
Right.
right over the 181st footbridge, like, could we have a footbridge like closer to Fort Tryon Park? Like, could you cross from the Greenway into Fort Tryon Park? There's no access, and like, as Greg, I think, was pointing out, there's no access until you
I'd run
like at
across the
181.
highway.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you do not,
Yes.
Daryl.
I mean,
People do. It's really scary. So 181 and then Dykeman. That's it.
So that's an example of the kind of thing that we're looking to hear, because for example, that segment of wall across the street from Billings Gate may need to be relocated. And if we're gonna relocate that
Right.
wall, while building a bridge will not be part of our study, it won't be part of our funding request. If we can build the wall to accommodate the
future
potential for
bridge.
a future bridge, we wanna do that.
Right.
And so we really wanna gather ideas and brainstorm.
But I think it's always a good exercise that whatever changes are happening in the community, to engage the community where those changes are happening. And I'm looking at you, Robert Moses, when you don't engage the community, those are the sort of things that happen. So thank you for that. Tracy, did you have your hand up? Okay, Danny. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Daryl. No, Daryl was first. Sorry, Daryl.
I mean, I would say refurbishing the 181st Street pedestrian bridge
Well,
would
that's
be.
DOT.
Okay, all right, well. You don't want it to fall down on your.
Transportation committee, because he keeps doing that.
It's all connected, but
It's all,
I
yeah.
just want to be clear for the retaining wall. This is the wall that is specifically on the western side of the pathway, correct? Has nothing to do with the walls that may be across the street.
Correct,
Okay.
yes. As you're headed on the bike path or on the highway northbound, if you look west, if you look to your left, you will see the large retaining wall. Yes.
Yeah.
Danny, you had a question.
I was just like, I was like looking at that master plan, that 2030 master plan and all that stuff. Like, I'm just like curious, like, why wasn't at any point between whenever like that wall was like kind of like built and like now, why wasn't there, where was it that it failed, that they were like, we know that this wall will need, or this road will need maintenance, but why wasn't it ever put in, like, I don't know, like,
Remember, it's not the wall.
well,
They used horses then.
yeah, no, I'm like, in my head, I'm like thinking, they built the road, they built the walkway, and we know that at some point things deteriorate and things just go bad. Why wasn't it like at some point they were like, we know that this is like on a hill, things are gonna erode, that we should every like 5-10 years think about like putting some law or something somewhere where it's like this kind of stuff happens more often. Then it doesn't get to the point where Castle Village is almost like, sliding over and all that stuff, because we are building on top of a hill.
It's a great question, and we can surmise and speculate about what was going on over history, but I will say that I think as a result primarily of the Castle Village wall collapse years ago, New York City Parks and the DOB enacted a new local law in 2008, which requires all retaining walls to be inspected every 5 years. And
There
so
you go. That's your answer.
Okay,
All right.
I see.
all owners of retaining walls have to abide by.
And I just want to emphasize what Liz said before, that it's not the wall, it's material that's falling away like, underneath.
Yeah, but like, yeah, then
Well, fine.
I would say like, what would that part of the land be considered? Is that part of PATH? Is that a DOT issue? Is that a like, who is it that's like, who's the finger to point at? It's like,
Really great question. But we're all point the finger at all of us. And yeah, at this point, we're doing our best to come together and work as a team across these 4 main agencies to see what we can get done.
But at least there's a policy in place that requires steady inspection, cyclical, right? Joy, you had a question, and then Daryl.
Yes, I have 2 questions.
Well, let's do one, and then one again. But yeah, yeah, I got you.
When you talk about the community, obviously for people who are walking there, and maybe the runners, it is kind of the people who live up there. For people who bike on that, it is everybody all the way up down the, at least the west side of Manhattan. I mean, I'm not biking from 108th Street to Inwood to Road in part because of this thing. So in terms of the bike community, it's really a much, much bigger footprint than
Yeah, absolutely. And I can let Jesse speak to this, but I'll say a couple words, which is we've been thinking about that. That's one of the reasons we'll have pop-up events on site to capture people who are using the path.
Or people may not be there because
You mean because it's closed now?
That'll be open.
So
I imagine the path is closed.
No, not at all.
Oh, it's gonna be like
Not at all. So maybe we can talk about that quickly if we have.
Absolutely, go ahead, yeah,
So
quickly.
right now, the is underway. The bike path will be reopening by the end of this month. It will, we've done what we can to see how far we can push back the development of the next sinkhole, which is inevitable. But it will be open over the course of the CPSD study. It will be open until we perhaps receive this large sum of funding a couple of years from now, but it will remain open. We're still in a situation where we're probably gonna have temporary closures.
Given that, when it is reopened,
Yes.
obviously,
Yes.
it might be good to have signage up, essentially that says, this is a temporary fix. There's gonna be a big project, with QR code.
Yes.
So that the cyclists realize, they don't think, oh, there's no problem here, and then goes, why is there another thing?
So we will, that's a great idea. Thank you so much. We will be posting flyers. We'll have pop-up events once the bike path open in July. So thank you so much.
We're gonna go in this order. Daryl, sir, what's your name? I'm sorry, welcome. Ira, and then Tracy. Yeah, and then we're gonna loop around.
I
ahead.
guess I had a question, this might be more for the listening session, about like trees and how does that impact sinkholes? Because on the eastern side of the Greenway, seems like a good area, like sometimes it's just gross, ugly weeds, where nice trees could be, and it also blocks the view from the highway or to the highway, which is good for the pedestrians.
Yes, so
I did see native planting as part of the project, sorry.
we are, and thank you, we'll make sure that add this to future presentations. Trees are a component of our study. We'll be looking at them. Drainage is a component of a study. We'll also be looking at that. The vegetation that we've been talking about very much implicated in drainage and management of water. So yes, that green core, that green strip of land between the bike path and the roadway, we expect will play a role in any solution.
I just want to insert myself and clarify that we are at the study stage of all of this.
Correct.
We're not seeing proposals or having a list of trees or what's going to happen. We're in the am I correct to assume that this is the very beginning of imagining what this might look like? And that's why we are at the study stage of this. Is that a good characterization?
There's a sort of 2-part, the study that all the experts will be doing, and then the wish list.
Okay. All right. No, I'll ask that question. So in this order, Ira, hi Ira. I just want to clarify, there's a question. Chat is disabled because chat is private, so all your questions need to be posted in the public Q&A. Thank you, A. Legrande. Yep.
I have so many questions. Unfortunately, like Joy pointed out, the community is immense. It's all of Manhattan. It's not just Inwood.
And the Bronx.
Yes, thank you. Second, what the issue about what the purpose of community outreach is a very good question. What is the purpose of counting pedestrians and bicyclists? What would actually that change about design. I mean, and that pinch point opposite Billings, it's not 7 feet, it's only 2 feet. Because when it rains, there's a little bit of, or even when it's not raining, the mud and everything, you can just bike through a small little area. So you're talking about a 1 foot pinch point. But on top of it, driving lane, plus double wide breakdown lane. I've actually gone to that park and I've mapped out ways to get on and off both the northbound and southbound lane, and also have the Parkway, same thing, no expense other than putting out barricades.
So Ira, what's your question?
Yeah.
The question is, what is the point of counting pedestrians and
So I can speak. I can speak to that
Absolutely,
briefly.
yeah.
So all of the counts, pedestrians, cyclists, and cars are all part of a comprehensive traffic study, which will allow us to have the conversation that you're having with our partner agencies that rely on that data to make decisions. So, for example, when we reached out to state DOT several years ago, it might be a possibility to put bikes on the roadway. They said, you need to do a study. And so
Right.
a lot of decisions are made based on numbers and facts and studies. And so the counting is important. It's important
in
that
the meantime, we have super duper pinch points. It's scary, chains fall off when you're biking off these back roads, surfaces. Car drivers would never put up with this.
But that's the purpose of the study, is to survey the area and to imagine what the potential might be. Because, for example, in terms of I mean, I'm not an engineer or an urban planner, but I'm assuming, just like based on intuition, that if you're going to create, let's say, cycling pathways, you want to account for people that actually cycle so that you can say, well, rather than having 1 lane, maybe we need 4 lanes. So that's the purpose of the study, and that's why we're at the study stage. Is that a fair?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? All right.
The golden thing is to separate pedestrians from bicyclists. All the time.
Exactly. And then we need to account for the traffic of that, both pedestrian and wheel traffic. I just want to acknowledge an online person who wants access to the details of the study and the geographical surveys, but I don't think we're at that stage yet. We're barely scratching the surface. Let's see, maybe, hold on.
All the stuff online.
Is like, yeah, maybe you want to answer that. Are there substantive details of the study? Like, they're just beginning the study. I think we need to really clarify that we're beginning the study. So there are no details because the study has not been conducted yet. Is that my understanding of it?
Yeah, so now we're starting the study.
Exactly.
The website will be online in the coming month or so. That's where the
Parks.com, right?
No,
Once-
the website, we will share it with this group and we will
Right.
be mailing out.
All right. So I think that what I'm going to do, but you're next, Tracy, and then you go, Danny, and then, yeah. So I think that before we even start getting ahead of ourselves, the most important thing is to attend the public hearing to start gaining an understanding of what this will be about. Right? Is that, did I characterize that in a way that makes sense? Okay. Because I think that a lot of the questions are coming out where we're getting ahead of ourselves because there's no data yet. We are collecting the data from what I'm hearing. Tracy, you're next.
Yes, is there any?
We're going to do another whip around. So I got you on the next round. Yeah.
Recognizing that all parks are accessible to all members of the city. And at the same time, what we don't want to do is for those outside of the community to have an outsized voice that happens within the community. Is there any way that can be incorporated into your studies? What I mean by that is that, if people are using this as their 2-hour cycling from Tribeca to wherever, but there's tons of them, we would hate for that to be an outsized voice to the majority of people that live there. And then that way we're catering, we're basically Robert Mosesing ourselves, catering to the needs of outside of the community versus inside. So is there a way to capture that data when you do your study, whether asking people for the zip code where they live or so forth and so on? So
Jesse, can you speak to that briefly, that collecting information about where people are from and why they're using the bike path is going to be part of our survey?
Bike path, walk path.
It's Greenway. It's a Greenway.
Yeah, I'll just say that any input that we collect with the survey, we look at holistically. So we're never looking at the answer to one question or one suggestion or one opinion. We're never looking at that sort of with blinders on. We're working through what those questions will be, but we'll definitely incorporate questions that help us to understand the experience of whoever is providing the input. So are they a cyclist? Are they someone who walks? Yes, what you said was exactly on point. We often put, what is your zip code, in a survey. So that's really important for us to understand the perspective of who's providing the input.
Okay. Danny, you are next.
I know this is just a study, and it hasn't even started yet. And also referencing that master plan where I have heard from other people speaking about the possible path closer to the water, to maybe make that accessible. And I even think at some point, I'm not too sure if we even had it as a capital thing, but we have spoke about it here where we're just like, we're okay, like you guys do the study and all that stuff. Is it that you guys are gonna be asking for more money path down over there as well too?
So the greenway along the water is outside the scope of work of our study. We're focusing on the retaining wall and the greenway, which is along the retaining wall. I am aware that the greenway along the water has been a topic of conversation in the past. I'm not entirely familiar with that. We, as part of the study.
Okay.
With that
Greenway.
said, yeah, no, with that said, the lighthouse link is first the lighthouse link. That would be a good example of something in the pop-ups and the community input that, you know, if people are really excited about that and want that to move forward as a vision, that could come in the community input.
Because I did hear her say, just asking for money. So if it is that, like, okay, we can ask for this, and we can ask also for that. No, I totally understand, and I get it too. Where we're not even part there, but it is an idea for maybe somebody or a group of people could be like, hey, even on top of this, like we should ask for that little link right there, you know. So.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions online before I get to you, Daryl, because I also want to acknowledge the online community. So have there been any geophysical surveys? A LaGrande is asking. Have there been any geophysical surveys? There seems to be a concern of tracer studies, the volume of traffic, in essence, preliminary studies before the study. Can you speak to that?
Everyone, that Parks has conducted a series of borings along the greenway, which speak to the soil conditions. And I'm going to pass it off to Greg with Stantec, who can tell us a bit about the geophysical investigations that Stantec is doing as part of this study.
Okay. Greg is going to speak about tracer studies right now, because, you know, if you have a question, then ask it, but I cannot address every single comment that's coming through the chat or the Q&A. We want questions to help us clarify. Yeah, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Liz. So the goal, you know, Parks has already done.
I'm not Liz. Oh, sorry. Liz was the former chair. That's why.
Yeah, so you know, Liz touched on it as her part of the presentation that Parks has done some preliminary investigations, more reactive to the sinkhole problem as it was developing. So the point of this study is to complete the picture. We have some historical information in isolated pockets along this corridor, but what we're aiming to do is provide a comprehensive, full approach to make sure that we understand what the subsurface conditions are from point A to point B all along the corridor, which is something that right now we don't have access to, and we're going to identify as part of the study.
An example, Greg, if I can throw out these words, you can let me know if I'm on base. We'll be doing some more borings.
Yeah,
We'll be
I'm
doing,
not-
potentially some ground penetrating radar. We'll be doing some seismic refraction. So these are the kinds of things that people in the field might be out there.
Thank you. And again, if you have specific questions, come to the hearing. That is your opportunity to ask your questions. Okay? Yes, Daryl.
Thank you. For the study, I hope part of it is talks about the daily, weekly, monthly maintenance of the Greenway, because I think partially to Ira's point earlier is that one of the biggest things that shrinks the path is leaves from the fall. Like sometimes you could walk down there and there's like 2-3 feet of leaves, that need to be, taken away, but it's shrinking the path immensely. So I don't know how often that cleanup is supposed to happen, but it doesn't happen.
Our study will be focusing on capital work, but we'll certainly have representatives from our operations team. We have Jana here who can hear these kinds of comments. We're getting the sense throughout our studies that could possibly be contributing to some of the issues. And so there will be conversations about all of that. Ultimately, our capital project will do work, but we'll have the chance to talk about what sort of upkeep might be necessary.
And what kind of support for maintenance and operations might be necessary.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Who's next? So then we're doing another whip around. Daryl, Joy, Ira, and who else? In that order. Go ahead, Joy.
Okay, so I was gonna ask a specific question, I'll ask you later, but this is back to the comfort. It sounds like, given Tracy's comments and Ira's, we've got a big bicycle community, and as somebody else pointed out, this is not even just Manhattan, New Jersey, this is the Bronx. That path is in a sense a highway for bicycle community. You've got an e-bike community. It might not be legal there, but there are e-bikes there, there are even sometimes motorcycles. And you've got a pedestrian community that's probably mostly the neighborhood, some runners from further away. But I think I'm kind of asking, do you, on the one hand, you may want to reach out to those communities separately, and on the other hand, I think for all of those communities, they need a way to work with each other so it doesn't become the neighbors against the bike commuters and everybody against the e-bike commuters. It becomes maybe all of us against cars, but to make that, whatever comes out, really make sure that we're all fighting together for all of us. And if there's a way, if you're talking about 2 public sessions, maybe have way more, and maybe have some that are really trying to bring in different things at different times because their concerns may be different. And then there's the bigger question of how would this change if we could also factor in the possibility of a causeway to people on this way? Because that's going to change the routing for a lot of people, and it'll essentially give you 2 routes. Maybe even make it. Anyway,
Thanks for your thought.
but it just seems like this is, and the public really need to walk and fighting against each other on this. That doesn't help.
Good to hear about the range of the study, because it does include that zigzag between the George Washington Bridge and I'm just going. I get off my bike and going downhill on that. Because I've almost gone over my handlebars with pedestrians, and even without it, it's so scary.
That is within the scope of our study. Jesse, did you want to speak to the comments on the community involvement at all?
I'm sorry for the folks who are a little bit further. It's like a little fading in and out. Maybe you could rephrase.
Well, I think we can get the notes, and we can circle back.
If you can rephrase for her, Vic.
Sure. It was questions about, well, we know that the community of users is varied geographically, but also use type, pedestrians, cyclists, and that we need to make sure that we're engaging everyone and doing what we can to ensure that we're managing conflicts that the groups might have with one another, really communicating our goals that we're sort of all in this together. You had spoken about the involvement of the other bike paths in the area. Our study, but it's something that, because we're thinking big, we're having these in the back of our minds.
It's the same thing about thinking about another pedestrian access highway.
Right.
It's not within your study, but that for people, it's a no-brainer. We've always kept that, right? Not one exit at each end. And for some users, not all users, but thinking about the lighthouse connection is also very much part of, in essence, reducing pressure on the one greenway that goes through now, through two greenways going through. Things would look a little different. Not that it would, I mean, what I said about one's, bikes only can use one of that one, but reducing the pressure on any one of them, so everybody has more places to get from here to there. And more places,
Yeah.
And you can walk along the river, which would be awesome.
Assuming it's not flooded.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, lighthouse connections hold on logic, but.
Did you?
We had a question.
Yeah. So okay, yes, we're gonna do a whip around, but I just want to I always do this, right? We're getting to that time, and I have one more online question that I will read verbatim, but we're getting to the time where I'm doing a time check. It is almost 8:00 and Parks still has not presented on their capital improvements and programming. So with that in mind, please have some very clear questions, because we're going to do one more whip around and then we're going to close this topic until the hearing. And then you can come and continue asking your questions during that hearing. I think it's fair, right? Yes, thank you. Yes. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Just a quick question on, I have always been told that Henry Hudson is a parkway and a scenic byway. And so you said it wasn't, Jensen said it wasn't comprehensive. I'm just curious as to, after the study, if that is partially what's causing the problems. Number one. Number two is, how much is that federal? I always forget whether is that state or federal? No.
Are you referring, so your question is about
The question is just how much input, like the things that you're doing, how much input is it with the scenic byway?
Okay.
Like whatever we're going to be
So,
recommending.
in researching this corridor, I did find that there was an effort by community members to have the corridor added to the New York State Scenic Byway program, but it was not ultimately added, so it's not right now a part of the Scenic Byway.
But what's the scenic byway program? I don't know what that is.
It's a New York State Department of Transportation program.
Okay, so in other words, it's byway.
Well,
It's not. It's not.
It isn't a scenic
Not
byway.
according to the state.
What is it?
So the road itself is the Henry Hudson Parkway.
Yeah.
It is owned by the New York State Department. This segment.
It's the state.
This segment that we are talking about right now, it does vary by segment. This segment is owned by the New York State Department of Transportation. It is maintained by the New York City Department of Transportation. That is the roadway. And then the minute that you step off the roadway, you are under the jurisdiction of the New York City Parks Department. And so that's the complex jurisdiction that we're working within.
I've been there many years and I don't get it. I'm just curious, that was really my question. So is there any plan to get this scenic byway status?
I'm aware of that. I know that it was really being promoted by the community in the mid-2000s.
So that's your last question, because I want to get to the next whip around. No, your last question, you can ask it. Yeah.
Just in terms of using access, there's historical things about what the roadway how it was built and used and then changed. At the end of 181st, you've got steps that go to nowhere. And then further down, you've got a tunnel that is by. No cyclists can go there. There's steps and there's. Yeah.
I'm going to redirect the conversation. Let's ask the question. No question?
The question is, it's just part of a suggestion of, can anything be done in terms of those as a crossway across?
Do you know what she's saying?
Oh, thank you. I do. Well, I mean, I'm aware that there's close to the pedestrian bridge at 181st. I think we're still thinking of a bridge there. I am familiar with some of the areas outside of our study as well that you're thinking of, which are again outside of our study area, focused on the wall. But it is interesting to see the infrastructure that has been built over the decades. I mean, that stair set at 181st Street, the photos of it in the 20s when it was built were absolutely gorgeous. Pedestrians walking down onto the street. But again, now that we have the New York City.
No? Okay. Okay, I'm going to redirect the conversation with this last question because I think that, like I said, I think it's fair to characterize that we are in the beginning stages. There's a lot of cross-department along state lines. There's also a question about funding. Yeah. There's also a question about funding. So I really, for the sake of time, unless, you know, I'm going to ask this last question. Why is the New York City Parks incapable of partnering with NYC DOT to have a safe bypass during work? I'm going to say full disclosure, I'm not a fan of the language of incapable because there are a lot of moving parts, but that's their wording, not mine. So I'll have you, Dr. LaGrande.
Allegra.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Now we know. Okay.
No, we know.
Well, it says LaGrande, Dr. LaGrande.
Yeah.
So.
So the detour is on local streets. We've worked with the Department of Transportation to isolate that detour. It is the detour that has been selected by city agencies.
There you go. It's a question of city agencies. So Danny.
No, cut the floor.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, Danny.
This is a quick question.
When is it ever quick?
Okay. All right. No, let's, okay, guys, let's keep it. I know it's the last meeting. Yeah.
Not nice earlier either, so we can all make little
Okay.
talks and it's okay.
Let's, yeah, no. Okay, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. This is the final meeting. We'll mediate later. Danny, ask your question briefly, please.
No, I was just asking about the Empire, the state trailer. If also, if that maybe gives any kind of a incentive to give money, that was it. Like same thing what she was saying, since it's part of the Empire State Trail.
There's certain organization that we're going to be reaching out to as part of this.
And that is the last question. I'm gonna say that's the last question.
Funding and stuff like that, you know? What was that?
Typically, that's the organization that we will be reaching out to again, find out their thoughts on the area and gather their input as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. And like I said, I encourage everybody to just attend the open meeting so that the conversation is ongoing, because otherwise we will be here until midnight. So thank you for that.
And
Yeah.
we can get the office to send out these flyers.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Daryl. And also, let's also be mindful that we work together. This is a volunteer position, and let's keep it, no, Alexis, let's keep it cordial, okay? All right.
Just to
Yeah.
make clear that, my team at Parks here, Northern Manhattan Parks, will be, you know, a primary communication source for Liz and her team to get all the information out to the public, in terms of the invitations for these pop-up and community input sessions.
I think it's a great idea. Okay, that said, because we still have Parks Update and Vital Parks, and we still have a presentation on Los Círculos de David. at David, los círculos de David, okay. Los círculos at David Freeland Square. So this is why I had to really cut it because we're now at the 8 o'clock mark and we still have 2 more presentations. So Jenna, muy bien. All right.
Who's giving the public art installation?
I think it's Elizabeth. Elizabeth, are you here for the círculo presentation?
Hi.
All right, but I'm gonna let Jenna do her updates
Okay.
and vital parts. We're gonna collapse everything.
Okay, here. Oh, you know what? I can do Vital Parks after her if you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be with you tonight on our last community board before the summer. Woo! Thanks to our amazing community board for their volunteers. This is a serious job that you guys do. Okay, so for Northern Manhattan Park, some announcements. I'll begin with Capital. So this summer, Inwood Soccer Field will open. We are very excited about that. So we'll give you an updated date when we have it, but we're looking at mid-late July. Also in July, Monsignor Kett, the new bathroom at Monsignor Kett will open. So later in 2025, we have a pending updated timeline need for Cascade Playground at 180th because we have contractor challenges. One note about Cascade Playground, I'm part and members of my team, I'm Jenna Lixworth, the administrator, by the way. Hello. Members of my team, myself included, we are working with the 180th Street Coalition for the 2 blocks of 180th, St. Nick to Amsterdam. And that incorporates Cascade Playground. So we'll forward you guys as community members. We'll be sending out invitations to some events that we'll be doing at Cascade Playground to also gather input and ideas and animate the space and build more partnership in that area. Fall of 2025, Billings Lawn at Fort Tryon Park, which has been closed for the summer. We will open that in September, we expect, as long as we get enough rain to reseed the grass. The contractor has finished, laid down the hay, laid down the mesh. We hope the birds and kids, etc., do not entertain themselves with it, and everything will go fine. In 2026, we will have the Inwood Ball Fields. Keynote there, I have received many questions. The Inwood Ball Field work that is underway, grass, it will be coming back. There are a lot of questions about whether it's turf, it's grass. So grasses will continue to be the surface of the Inwood.
So that was that's Inwood Ball Field. Which one? All of them?
There are 3 underway. Yes. And then Lily Brown Playground, also expected in spring of 2026. We had a bit of a delay because of a gas line break. Good news is Con Ed repaired it, fixed it, and we are back in business in terms of the construction. And for the most part, we're on time. McKenna, I want to make a note about McKenna Square, right here by Alianza, where we are. We will be giving you a date soon for community input sessions around McKenna and its redevelopment. We're happy to report that it was chosen as a community park initiative. So it's very, this whole area with Alianza, with Word Up, with the school, with the post office, with the church, with Salento, like there's so many great partners around here. So we will be doing community input around the redesign of McKenna Square and share those dates. We're looking at September. Some key events. Roller skating,
baby. Roller skating. It is on. I will see everybody there. I have crystal roller skates.
And
yep.
Yep.
On Saturday. I'm sorry, when?
Friday, on June 13th. Also Friday the 13th. June 12th through the 14th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Very happy to report that the annual Shakespeare in the Park at J. Hood, presented by a public theater, will be there, bilingual Shakespeare. Much Ado About Nothing. So 6:30 each night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oh, right. Sorry.
What's that other theater called? Yeah.
And then June 14th, I have Bridgewater Tower Tour with the Urban Park Rangers at 11. Alexis, I can email this to you too. June 14th in Woodhill Park, we have the Jazz Power Initiative Jazz Festival, 4 o'clock on Saturday. June 15th in Woodhill Park, Father's Day hike with the Rangers. at 1. June 18th at Highbridge, the annual Pride event that the
Yep.
Manhattan and Bronx City Council people.
At the High Bridge, yes?
At the Highbridge.
Okay, good. That takes care of, I have people announcing that, so thank you for that.
That's 2 to 7. I've asked for the flyer so that I can send it around. As Catherine said, we are really happy to be partnering with Morris Jamel Mansion and working with our community around Roger Morris Park, hopefully with all kinds of partners coming in to volunteer. We're gonna paint the Juneteenth bench in honor of Juneteenth. We're also going to put the bench, some gardening from 2 to 4. And then 4 to 5, bring your picnic, have some food, and enjoy the concert. There might also be a swag giveaway. And then just a reminder for events, you can always go to our website, www.nyc.gov/parks. You can choose to see what events are happening by park or by date. Okay. And then I see time over to Elizabeth, and I can do Vital Parks afterwards.
Thank you. All right, so Elizabeth is, any questions for Parks? Yes, Danny.
Juneteenth benches, those black, red, and
Yes, they're Pan-African or Juneteenth. People call it both.
is Parks that does this now?
Those are parks.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that. And so we have one at Roger Morris Park, which historically is Harlem.
Okay,
Yes,
and then the two questions is, are there any updates on the Amelia and Gorman and the one?
He beat you to it.
And also the 186 basketball court.
2 things. So Amelia Gorman, I was, I've been trying since I joined our community as the Parks Administrator to give more to Amelia Gorman. I want to thank our recreation team because they actually tried to bring a movie to the terrace, but rained. So we will keep working on that. So the movie that was planned by Rec for Amelia Gorman Terrace was canceled by rain. We're gonna see if we can reschedule that. The 2, right now, we are working with Carmen de la Rosa's office on possible funding to open the lower section. In terms of just sort of looking at a phased approach to opening the middle of the park. We're also working on the Broadway component at the entry level, on the lower level Broadway, by the 1, to see how we can work with Carmen's office and CP12 and other partners to just kind of upgrade that lower level. And also continue to bring events to the terrace level. And then 186, it's in design.
I have a quick sidewalk question, but that's.
Ira's next. Ira.
A comment, not a question.
Hi, Ira.
I just want to say that in 2 days, you mentioned beautification. Parks is doing, increasing the sight lines from Dyckman Fields into the Hudson River. You've been a lot of bush on yourself.
Ira's one of our great stewards, very dedicated.
Thank you, Ira,
Yes.
and welcome.
Yeah.
I have, before Danny and then, actually, I'm gonna go Daryl, then Danny, to do a fair distribution of questions. But I do have a question. Is it correct that the Gate Greenway will reopen by the end of the month?
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. All right, the answer is yes. I'm gonna type yes. Daryl, you are next.
I was just wondering, Chittenden
Mhm.
Place, Street,
Mhm.
whatever, the trees between that and I guess it's the highway,
Mhm.
is that part of the Parks Department?
We don't, it's not anything that's active. It's a closed off area that is not inspected. It's not formally part of my parks portfolio as the administrator. I think it was a decommissioned part of the park. And I've noticed, I walk the Greenway and I've definitely noticed some of what's happening on that slope.
Well, yeah, and I don't know what's happening down there, but I didn't know if there was an intent behind the trees there because now they're so tall. If you're a pedestrian, you can't see the river in most sections. So I guess,
yeah.
can we cut the tops off?
No, we,
No, okay.
yeah.
So
It's-
there's
it's
no
not
plans,
It's not park.
it's not part. So who maintains
We-
that?
I
Okay.
know.
Well, not her. I wanted to
I mean,
something.
Yes.
It could have been ceded to property owners who look out on that. I'm not
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Do you know this? No, what I mean is it's not active. It's like decommissioned. It's not inspected. Our team does not have to take care of that area. But as I said, I think it's decommissioned parkland where it's still parkland, but it's not an area that is accessible to the public at night. But to Liz's point, perhaps we could ask Forestry, but because Forestry is so overwhelmed with their work, it's gonna not be on the priority list because it's not public access.
Yeah. And I know the last 2 years, they also had a lot of lantern flies.
Yeah.
In that.
Oh,
that
no,
area.
no.
A lot.
Don't. I've seen less. I've seen less.
They weren't there last week, but yeah.
Liz, do you have any
Past years.
insight or additional notes?
No.
Did you have a question? No? Okay. Danny, your question, did you have a question? I saw your hand went, okay. Danny, I think that's the last question for parks. And then,
From Payson Park, is that, yeah, is that sidewalk part of parks? Is that side, are they keeping that?
Our list of,
Cause they're,
leads.
yeah, cause they're fixing it now. Are they still keeping that?
Let's try to keep the hexagon.
Okay, and also that part. It is part, the land is part.
Parkland,
Yeah.
right. When I said decommission, what I mean is.
No, I know.
Parkland for us or users.
I know exactly what that means, but I was just like putting on my land use hat. I love New York Zola. That thing is the best.
He loves that thing. I think he does that all the time.
I'm going to be, yes. I'm gonna do the loving nudge. All right?
Let's go.
I'm gonna do the loving nudge that I do. Okay. I'm going to give the floor to Elizabeth Marcela. Marcela, did I say that correctly?
It's just Marcela.
Okay, bye. To talk about Los Círculos.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You have the presentation here in front of you. Sorry, Elizabeth. Yep, go ahead.
I'm also joined by Jeremy Iannucci from Marvel, not the comic book producer, as a design firm based in Manhattan, but we are here to share just some information about an upcoming temporary public art installation. And just to introduce myself to those of you who may not know me, I am the Senior Public Art Coordinator at NYC Parks, and I oversee the temporary public art program that permits exhibitions in parks citywide that are on view for up to a year. So that is all 5 boroughs. It is a very busy season now. So if you're out in the parks and you see public art, you can think of me because that is what I do. So the project we're here to share this evening doesn't have like a hard install date yet, though we are looking at late summer. Unfortunately, our partners at the Van Allen Institute and Cloth Community League of the Heights were not able to join us. They have a gala this evening, but Jeremy is joining me and has been integral in the design process and the development of this temporary installation called Los Círculos that will be at both David Friedland Plaza, which is Parks, and La Plaza de las Americas, which is DOT. I think without further ado, I know it's been a long meeting, I'll turn it over to Jeremy to just share some information, a background, and share images of the temporary installation.
Thanks a lot, Elizabeth. Thanks for the introduction. My name is Jeremy Iannucci. I'm an architect with Marvel. Yeah, I'll be presenting Los Círculos on behalf of Cloth and the Van Allen Institute. Everyone can see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right. So Los Círculos, back in the end of 2024, Van Allen Institute and Community League of the Heights, Cloth, they received the Public Realm Grant from SBS, and that's been funding this project through its design and development through the first half of the year. And working with all of our partner organizations and supporters, we've developed this design, primarily designed by Marvel. Burrow Happold has provided the lighting engineering, and then T.Y. Lin for structural. The installation is going to take place on 2 sites in Washington Heights. One is Duarte Triangle on Broadway and 170th Street, and the other is Plaza de las Americas on 175th Street. And both sites will be connected by Broadway. So we started the design of the installation just with the idea of the circle as a geometric form that symbolizes connection and gathering. And we wanted to use this form to begin to activate these 2 sites. And taking that circle, we've decided to twist it and kind of give it a bit of a wobble, just to give it that kind of energy that you find in a lot of dance. And especially dance that's very common throughout the Latin American communities that are all spread throughout Washington Heights and New York City in general. So again, the two sites that we'll be looking at is Duarte Triangle, which is a parks site, and then Plaza de las Americas, which is governed by DOT. So at Duarte Triangle, the installation will take the form of these two lighting fixtures spread throughout the site. We found that Duarte Triangle is really a space that people pass through. It's kind of a smaller scale space people will go to eat. And we wanted to use these installations to kind of activate those activities, both of passing through the space and of sitting and gathering and talking. Here you could see the layout of Duarte Triangle, the two lighting fixtures in red. They're rings about 5 feet wide, and they'll be at heights between 10 feet and then 8 feet, depending on either of the sites. And we'll be drawing power from a light post on the site that we've gotten approval from DOT Parks to go through with. Then here you can see just the elevations of those two installations and kind of how we picture people interacting with them and them activating that cross through at night, at evening. And then at Plaza de las Americas, it takes the form of a larger ring around 20 feet in diameter. And we see this as kind of being a new stage on the plaza. And that could activate either kind of dance performances, musical, or just other gatherings in the space. And that'll also come with a series of planters, also pre-approved by DOT. And we see the planters as a more permanent fixture in the park. Nothing with either of the two installations is permanently fixed to the ground, permanently fixed to anything. But the planters can be removed and will be kind of staying at the park while the actual installation is either stored when not in use or during assembly. And the maintenance of these planters is being coordinated by DOT and Cloth together.
Okay.
Then looking at the plan of just Plaza de las Americas with the installation down on the bottom half, we've sized and placed the installation to minimize its impact with the existing recurring NYC Green or NYC Grow market, as well as keeping all the necessary setbacks and emergency lane clear in the park. And power for this installation will come from a event box on the southern edge of the site, right by the supermarket. And then here another section through the installation. In the design of this, we've looked a lot of the heights of everything. So we've wanted to keep it low enough that it's not triggering any type of building permit needs, but high enough that we avoid any type of vandalism or people hanging from the installation or slapping it, touching it, breaking it. Yeah, so those are the two installations that are currently in the works. And as Elizabeth said, we're aiming for launch date for the installations towards the end of July. And I welcome any questions. I'll try to answer it the best I can on behalf of Cloth and Van Allen.
Perfect timing. Thank you so much, Jeremy. This looks fantastic. So my first question, do you need, you don't need a resolution for this, right? No, right? Because it's a done deal.
And
Fantastic.
it's also temporary, so we don't require, it'll come in and then it'll go away. So we don't require.
I suspected. Any questions? Danny?
Cool. What you call it? Would those things obstruct any trees or anything like that? Because like most plazas have trees. So I wonder if you guys like took the trees into consideration as well too. And I don't know, these things are pretty cool.
Yeah, there won't be any intrusion on the trees or any park fixtures. Again, we've sized everything and gone through, measured everything in the field, and they'll sit either further away from the trees at Duarte Triangle or in Plaza de las Americas. they'll kind of be hugged by the trees. So the trees kind of wrap around the installation where it's sited.
Ira.
I have to go to the, how will anyone know when it starts? And we'll be open late enough that in the dark, you can actually see the lights.
Is that your question? If it's going to be open at night?
The two questions.
Go ahead.
How I know about it and will be open at night.
I just want to make sure I heard them because I'm remote. So the one question was, will they be on at night? And then two, can we notify you when they're on view? Is that correct?
Yep, I know. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I would say we're happy to notify you when they're on view. When we get a better sense of that, we can share more information and updates and any related events or anything like that. And then Jeremy, as far as, you know, they are intended to be lit overnight.
Yep, they are lighting installations, so they're really gonna shine, for lack of a better word, at night. And we kind of see them being kind of fun graphic elements throughout the Washington Heights.
Thanks, Danny. Daryl?
I mean, I guess that was part of my question. Like, what are the exact dates this will be up? And then what are the times it lights up and turns off?
So the exact dates, we're still working on a launch date for the installations. It will be towards the end of July or beginning of August. And right now we're permitted to have them up for several months, I believe around 10. But they'll remain in the possession of Cloth. So they picture them coming back up around holiday markets or kind of whenever they have another event that they feel like they'd call for. But they would need to be re-permitted on the reinstallations of them.
I wonder just.
I'm sorry. And they'll be lit up all night long.
I believe so. I'm actually, I can't speak to when the shutoff time would be, but they will be up a bit before sunset and then kind of into the night.
Sorry, just to follow up with that, like, what do they see from above? Do you just see it from below or do you see it from above as well?
Pedestrians will kind of see it from below. You're meant to walk under them, look up. From above, you'll pretty much see the same thing. The structure that's supporting the lights is extremely light and also will be painted black to kind of blend into the night. So the hope is that you just see these rings from wherever you decide to view from.
Danny.
I wonder if I could suggest to, from what Daryl was saying, like either to get a light sensor or a motion sensor. So then it's like not on all night. And it's, I guess especially in like that little area as well too. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I believe there will be a timer on them, or the actual function of the lights will be kind of owned by Cloth, and they'll work through the timing.
Jenna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. A couple of notes. This is also known locally as Juan Pablo Duarte Square. So just a note there, Jeremy, in case, you know, locally you hear that. Two, the different partners, Elizabeth, like Cloth, Van Allen, the other folks will, you know, like most public art, my understanding is that there will be a launch event, but then it's public art. It's just sitting there for people to enjoy whenever they enjoy it.
Yep.
But will Cloth and some of the partners be, as far as you know, be doing events throughout the 10 months that it's up? And those partners will do their invitation to the community to join those. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
If you guys can just come off the share so that our owl can, so you can see the speakers that are asking questions. Joy, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, is this static light or is it like moving and dynamic in any way? And also, is the top of it like painted black or something so that the light isn't shining into people's windows?
Yes, the lights themselves, they're not extremely bright. They're kind of like a low neon quality of light. So they are static. There's not going to be movement in the light, but the movement in the form and then the soft light coming from it, we think will be enough to kind of activate the spaces.
And then in terms of whether there's anything to prevent the light from shining straight up into people's windows and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've gone through with light sensors with our lighting engineer, and they're not going to drastically change the quality of light anywhere beyond 5 feet from the installation.
Like streetlights that can't
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, if the street lights are on, you're not gonna notice them from above, at least.
Okay, last but not least, Vital Parks, and then you can present from there, Jenna. So I invited Parks, like I said, Parks has taken center stage tonight because this is the result of my attendance of a workshop in conjunction with Act Now. And I found it so interesting. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. We Act. I'm sorry. Yes, you're correct. We Act. And I was so impressed by this initiative that I asked Jenna if she can come in and present for CB12 and put it out there as a matter of public record. So thank you so much. How much time do you need? Excuse me. No. Excuse me.
Probably
Yeah.
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay.
I'll try to do it to 10.
No.
So I've
No.
handed out here for folks who are in person, Vital Parks for All, investing in NYC's living infrastructure. So you will see there's two sides. Vital Park, just so everybody understands, is actually a tool on a website that I'm going to be walking you through momentarily. That really looks at all of the funding allocations that have already been made and have put them on this map so that CB12, if CB12 wants to look at all of CB12 in terms of comparison with what infrastructure is living in Vital for Parks, you can go, and I'm going to take you to CB12. So this is not, I want people to understand, this is allocated money already, right? So anything that's a future capital request that is not represented on Vital Parks at this moment in terms of the tool. The tool is showing what infrastructure investment has already been made in parks by our elected officials. And this is a score, again, and I'll take you, so that the public, anyone, CB12, the public can go look at Vital Parks on our website, zoom in on their park if they'd like to see what does my park have? What is it? So I'm going to take you through that site. I don't remember, Luana, do you remember how I?
Yes.
The website?
Yeah, hit share. Hold on.
Oh, I see. Share. See it? Yeah.
Share.
Should be right.
Mhm.
Okay, so that'll go up on the next screen. There you go. Oh, yeah, okay. So the screen sharing that will go away. That little green thing.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Okay. All right, so this is, just so everybody knows, you can go to our website and on the home page, if you scroll down, you'll see Vital Parks. We are starting on the direct page itself as part of our site. So Vital Parks for All, this is your landing page. And it really gives you sort of an overview of the idea of Vital. First of all, what is Vital? We at Parks have basically determined that Vital is really three elements. Is it clean / safe? For me, with the operations team that my team oversees, we start there. You will see me picking up litter at all times of the day and night. Because the first baseline of whether our parks are vital is clean. Is it clean? Is it safe? 2, is it green? How green is it in terms of the resiliency of the infrastructure? And then 3, how engaged is it? How are people being involved with the park? Are there programs there? Are there volunteers there? So the Vital Parks for All tool that you can go through here, you see on the right, read our plan. That really goes into this sort of the strategic aspect of this. The strategy again is to put in one place for the public all of the investment that's been made in our parks 5-borough-wide, and people can zoom in on their own park. You can actually zoom block by block. And you will see that the score, every park has a score. And I'm going to take you through that too. So it's scored from 1, basically 0 to 100. The 3 elements that I just gave you about vitality, clean / safe, green / resilient, and 3, engaged. Those 3 aspects, the vital signs, let me go scroll down here. You see this? Check your vital signs. So those are how we score the parks. So understand your park's vital signs, okay? So this is the page I just clicked on so that you can understand those 3 vital components: clean, green, and engaged. This right here, I'm gonna click on the GitHub, this, and actually you can go do it on your own time, but this goes through calculation of how the scoring works. But I'm gonna give you the simple method. The first vital component, clean, actually makes up 50% of a park score. I'm trying to go back, but it will not seem to let me. Hold on.
I think if you just click on the back arrow.
I was, but it's not working.
There we
There we go. Okay, so thank you. So that's where you can go really in depth in terms of looking at the scoring components. So, and how it works. Clean is half of the park score. So cleanliness, safety makes up 50% of a park score. Okay, so like basically, and you can also watch this form on your own time. So right here, I'm gonna go back to this, learn more about vital signs, right? So understand your park's vital signs. We're gonna enter a park, and I'm gonna do Mitchell just because it's right here. And I'm hopeful that over time.
I want you to do Marcus Garvey.
No, that's not in Northern
That's not
Manhattan.
ours.
I know, but I'm not.
Okay, so Mitchell
We're trying.
Square. That's, okay, so Mitchell Square.
I know, I'm there every summer.
This is a little.
I think, yeah, I think you have to, yeah, Danny, please. Thank you. There's something about the right click and the left click that these touch pads can get. There you go. Danny, can you just like assist there, please? Thank you.
Yeah, go back to right here.
Yes.
That one. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Danny. All right, so Danny will be the driver. Okay, can you scroll back up, Danny? Scroll back up to the top. Yeah, we want to start there. Okay, so every park has a page like this, you guys, which essentially is what I was saying. You can go look at your specific park and see, what is this park score? You see on the right, that is the column of the 3 vitality areas: clean and safe, green and resilient, engaged. So clean and safe, the park condition score overall is 97. So cleanliness and safety make up 50% of that 97. Okay.
Wow.
The next 30% comes from the green and resilient. You see at Mitchell Square, we have 20 mapped trees. There's no forever wild. The next, thank you, empowered and engaged users. There's no recent or upcoming events. Engagement is 20% of the score. I'm actually working, and I'm very happy to report that New York Presbyterian is going to become a very consistent partner at Mitchell Square. I'm also hoping that Alianza can do that, and others in this surrounding area. Mitchell Square is actually a fantastic big park, and it has so much visibility, right? So if you scroll down, so then they give you the map. So the tool gives you the map, and you can kind of zoom in on Mitchell Square, and you can actually go look at the elements. Usually. Okay, well, there's probably another pad, yeah. So on this same page, you get all the other park information that you might want to have. So there, right? So you have if you go back up, you have the history of it right there, the highlights in the news. Okay, so click back, go back to the previous vital park. I want to show you that. Yeah, let's go here. We want to do the Vital Parks Explore. So this, choose that. Thank you. Okay, so if you thank you, David. So this is the Vital Parks Interactive Explorer. So we're going to look at CB12 in a moment, but I want you to see the left. That's okay. Stay right there. Just, yeah, hover over 12. Perfect. Don't do anything yet though. So on the left column, you'll see these are the 20 elements that make up vital parks, that make up clean, that make up green, that make up engaged. So you can actually look, these are the 20 elements, right? And when you go to, Manhattan 12, yep. So go over here and you can start zooming in. You can click on it. If this will let
There you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. So zoom, go to the top, Danny, if you can, so we can see the, yeah. So this is, we compare beautifully, you guys. CB12, we're so lucky, as you all know, the Northern Manhattan parks are spectacular. We're so lucky here. So this gives the report for Community District 12. And if you look at the active recreation areas, you can see the metrics, right? So this is about percentage of people. This is not about percentage of land. This is about percentage of people who live near an active recreation area, who live near a community garden, who live near cooling features. Within a 10-minute walk, they can get to all of these things. So that's correct. So if Danny, sorry, go back up to the top. So you'll see here, Community District Manhattan 12, current. By the way, this is how we're looking. We're looking at current. Remember, this is current infrastructure money investment. So we don't have future right now. You can actually look for a future value, but it's not available for this element. Do you see the asterisk?
Right.
So active recreation
Not
areas. Community District Manhattan 12, 93% of people versus citywide 80. Community gardens, 39% of people versus 40% citywide. Cooling features, 100%. So you can, yep, dog runs. By the way, a quick note on dog runs. Dog runs are not designed by parks. We design them with dog run communities, right? So in this case, however, dog runs, we have 43% compared to 19% across the city, right? So 43% of people in our CB12 have a 10-minute walk to a dog run.
Okay.
So you can just scroll down and look at all of these different.
Seems like we're outperforming.
We are.
We are outperforming the
Yes.
general population. The second number is New York City, not just Manhattan. It's all 5 boroughs.
That's right.
Okay.
And if you look at this column, and I encourage CB12 to really go through this, CB12, we are winning in every single.
We're outranking the entire city.
Yeah, and to a great extent, it's because our parks are so special up here. We're very
Right.
unique, right?
All right.
So that's this tool. You can go look at videos. You can go do a deeper dive in terms of the conditions for and the analysis and the specific.
Don't close it yet.
But
Yeah.
just remember that it's really about 3
told him not to
vital
close it.
elements: clean/safe, green /resilient, and engaged.
What is a website again? This is just a tool for you to explore. It is a resource. So what I'm going to do is, if you have a question, let's be specific about it. But this is just something that was created to compare, to map, to see the priorities. And I encourage you to go home and play with it and be informed.
To that point.
Thank you.
You can also, you can compare your park to your sister's park in Brooklyn.
Right.
You can compare your park to your neighbor's park in terms of looking at, why do they have dog run but we don't? Yeah, that's an easy question.
Right.
Because a group of people got together to create a dog run for this park, right? Or why does this park have Forever Wild area, but my park doesn't? Well, because Highbridge has massive, forested areas, and Amelia Gorman does not.
Right.
So there's certain answers that are not about any one priority over another. It's quite often about the landscape and what's possible.
This could be a really good project for schools. Yeah, to connect with local communities. I used to be a teacher. Bored.
Very walking question. Is there a URL for that?
It's Vital Parks. I forget the direct URL.
Square.
Not for Mitchell Square.
Okay.
No. So you just go to nyc.gov/parks, and Vital Parks is on the homepage.
The Vital Parks is on the homepage. And here you are, you have a handout. Okay, and this handout, is it on the website, or you just go to the website and it's there, Vital Parks?
All of this
Okay.
information is on.
Yeah, I just want to be fair to the people that have joined online, if they don't have this sheet.
For CB12.
We have these flyers if you want to stop by, but also just go online and it will be there, Vital Parks. That's I was very impressed by it. Okay. All right. Joy, just be careful that you don't unplug my meeting. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So all the time.
Mhm.
Why it says that it's temporary?
I don't know that that's, accurate. So I will check into that. We know that the Mosquito Marsh was accidentally blocked for a while.
So,
Yeah,
but this actually Mosquito Marsh is not even indicated for this. And that's the tennis center.
That's Columbia.
Right, but this is parks.
And this is managed by Columbia.
So here's, yeah, so it's this month, that was the stuff.
Yeah. I think that's the
That's
document.
a, yeah, there's actually more.
So, I will definitely report that. And two, one other aspect of this, it is really meant to support community boards in terms of what you are
Right.
advocating for in the Parks Committee and how you can help us, help people understand what tools are available to them. So that.
And that's why I invited you to come.
So just so you know, Chris and I have reported on this throughout the year. But we did not do it the way you have. asked us
Exactly.
tonight.
I guess, yeah, I'm not an auditory learner.
Yes,
I'm a visual learner. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yes, question.
Just a couple of questions. This is basically a handout for the purposes of this communication. This is, but so in other words, this is not a public document. It's another, there's a Spanish language for it. That's what I'm asking.
So I can ask our Vital Parks team, to share this.
Maybe in terms of this community.
Good point.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, good point.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions?
Nah.
Oh, so at 8:39, do I have a motion?
Motion to dismiss?
All right. Have a wonderful summer. This is our last meeting, but we still have general meeting, but this is the last meeting of this session of this committee. It has been a pleasure. We ended. We're looking forward to getting out there. Parks, cultural affairs, everything is vital to increase the quality of life of our community. And as a proud lifelong resident of Washington Heights, born and raised, I bid you farewell, good night, and good luck. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm still waiting for the new.
Oh, yes. So new business. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, so my name is Ezra Ellingwood. I'm a local resident, and I'm here tonight representing Fort Washington Green, which is a community garden currently located on the grounds of Fort Washington Collegiate Church at 181 in Fort Washington. We're getting kicked out at the end of the month. And
because what's happening to the church?
Because the church is closing, so we will not be able to attend that space at all. We have definitively learned that we have to leave. So I've come here tonight to officially ask for any help we can get in moving into George Washington Bridge Park, also known as the Elephant Park, at 180 in Cabrini. It's right where the bike path comes out. We understand that in the past it was run by community members, and since one of those community members passed away, it's been closed, and we would like to take up the mantle. It's Port Authority land, and so we're also talking to Port Authority. We're reaching out in every direction we have. But I'm here tonight to, I guess, ask for your blessing and ask for any help in other ways. We're trying to get the keys from Port Authority. But yeah, we're an experienced community garden. We have a leadership team. We have an email list that goes up to 300 people. We have like a list of names right now who are ready to would start volunteering in GWB Park this weekend if we had the keys. So yes.
So before Daryl has an answer for you, I just wanted to extend my apologies because we close up. But moving forward, if you want to get on the agenda, please make sure you do so via the district office. Okay. Yeah. To whom?
To I think it's like the info at CB12.
Okay, they probably. Yeah. But we're happy to have you. I just wanted to apologize for rushing without calling for new business. Daryl.
Yeah, no, I mean, you already addressed that it is Port Authority land. I think
I know we've talked in past meetings. I think maybe it'd be good for September meeting to have the Port Authority representatives here specifically to talk about that park. And the part of the park that you're talking about, obviously there's like play features that were there, but there's also further beyond that. Is that the area that you're looking at? I mean, you're not.
Section. So we would be willing to take on the stewardship and like the keeping the gates open, maintenance of the park area. And then we would love to create a community garden in the more open section that's like down the hill that faces Haven.
And I think also, I know we talked about maybe the dog run folks in the neighborhood may also want that space as well. I think sharing is caring, so.
Happy to talk to them.
Thank you. Wonderful to meet you. So I took Alexis, who started the garden around to look at different green spaces to try to help. So Parks is working to help Fort Washington Green find some new spaces. And we identified the Haven, right as you go on Henry Hudson Parkway. There is that decommission. I use that word again, but I should not. Essentially old Fort Washington Park. It's sort of locked away along Port Authority's walkway. So that is an area, if you're thinking about that on Haven.
Like where you come up the highway, that part? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That we pointed out to the dog run folks and also Fort Washington Green. The Dolphin Playground, as we call it, which is a block away from where I live. That's right off the North Walk. That Dolphin Playground. Just a note there for CB12 that if it can be reopened, you know, I remember having lived there 18 years that the families locally loved it, and it has been out of use for at least 5 years because the volunteer who was opening and locking it, Jean-Luc Bioggi, passed away. So just in terms of like the family usage, and then Plaza Lafayette. I just want to note for the record, that's another area that we're looking at in terms of seeing what we can do with Fort Washington Green.
Yeah.
Because we could use more support there. So I'm glad to meet you. I have to talk to you after because our green Cup unit, I want to connect and see what's happening.
I also think, as you know, I here at the steps and Plainhurst.
Yes, that's where I met you. Sure.
It's like the scout, so we know.
Sure.
I see all the things all the time.
Yeah.
So that's.
And adjourn.
181 cents.
Unadjourned.
We're unadjourned, yeah.
That garden right
We're
now.
still taking minutes, yeah.
A little bit in pause motion because both buildings are under construction. And that the steps are DOT, but the side gardens are green thumb.
Right.
No, I understand.
I'm going to give the floor to Daryl.
What I'm saying.
Daryl.
What I'm saying. is-
Yes. Question or next steps for this initiative?
I will say I live at 15 McGaw right next to, so yeah, I'm very sad that everything that's happening. Yeah. Oh, yeah, very nice. The other thought, I don't know what's happening on the side of the volleyball courts by 190, you know, behind the one. Yeah, yes,
Oh, well, that's where trying.
yeah.
So that's not.
So people can't do,
No.
even though
No,
it's
can't.
like a huge square and nothing happens.
Well,
It's a lot of weeds.
Do stuff
Oh,
happen.
okay. I haven't been over there in a
We
while,
just haven't
so maybe,
reported it
okay.
yet.
I want to direct the conversation to
Yeah.
Green.
So.
So, yeah.
We can't have green thumb gardens. I mean, 'cause one of the things that we could talk about when I introduced you to our green thumb team is whether you guys want to become a green thumb garden and what could be a good site for that. And you raise a great question, Daryl. Green thumb gardens typically can't happen inside of a park. Right.
Yeah.
Kaya Samorkas has a question. Kaya?
Hi, I think it's just me now, but yes, something that I've been talking about with a couple of other Northern Manhattan people is that the stewardship of Fort Washington Park above 181st Street is there doesn't really seem to be anyone there because Riverside Park Conservancy doesn't do anything above 181st, and I know Inwood Canoe Club does their monthly cleanup, which we're a part of, but that seems to be kind of it. There is quite a lot of work that needs to be done. I know there's also a number of people who have been growing corn there. I can't comment on that, but it does seem to be quite a large space, quite a long space that is in really need of some tender loving care. And I wonder if that was, Jen, if that was something that you showed them or if something that you're looking for a group to steward.
It's an interesting question, Kaya. So we call that the lower bike path. That's the dead end that loops
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
We have a lot of illegal farming that happens there. That is not welcome or encouraged, particularly because of the condition of the soil. It's not healthy.
Yes.
Two, with that said, I don't know if Fort Washington Green is trying to stay closer to your local area. That's a bit outside of it, but I think Kaya, you raised a great point that, you know, the Fort Washington Green is growing a wide geography. I can certainly think and advise you on some other prospects, maybe between 155th and 221, river to river.
I would say that what's being taken away from us right now, with the church being closed, is a safe space for toddlers to play. And tonight, we were taking a big group photo before we came down here. I'd say we had several dozen families with small children in that photo. So while we would love to support Lafayette Plaza, and we do hope we can get there at some point, and same with the steps and everywhere else, but we're desperately trying to recover for our community of gardeners is this place for small children to engage.
Well, and the reason Lafayette can work is because it's enclosed. It can be enclosed.
I think we're hoping for somewhere to run around. But
So.
Lord knows that old movie theater.
So, yeah, that's becoming, if I may say something, we are also looking for ideas for projects that need funding from the city council. So this, when we are actually planning on doing, the committee, a summer walk and reimagine these spaces. Those are opportunities to have a discussion for new projects, because that's what we do when ranking time comes in September. So I'm happy that you're already, you got the ball rolling. The first thing is to really work closely with parks, and then we create a project, and hopefully we rank it so that it gets priority and it gets funded.
Yeah, and we actually have a budget of our own that we've been raising money alongside for our garden, but now that we're getting kicked out, we have been promised that will be within the money that we raised. So we have a little bit of funds to work with as well.
And I will give you my email so that it doesn't get lost in the abyss of people's inboxes. That said, let me just make sure that nobody else has any other questions. And thank you, and my apologies again. Alexis, yeah.
Is this Park? Is this the woman from I never say it right? McDonald's?
No, that's Hydrich. That's North Carolina.
All right. And that's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody who joined online. Now we're really,
I was gonna say, whose land is that by Overlook Terrace?
I was wondering about
Because
that.
I'm looking at it, it's by the Fort.
Like, what is that, north of the St. Charles one? It's probably the buildings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an idea.
No,
It's a piece of land.
I think also, the challenge is that they grow food.
They grow food.
Oh, okay.
It's a garden.
I don't know anything about gardening, but
So food presents other issues,
Exactly. And you just said that there's some areas that because the soil is not appropriate for gardening, it wouldn't be advisable. So we're trying to find a place, and you already started. It's good. So we're going to pick it up in September. Okay. And also for a safe place for toddlers and children. Okay. Okay. Now, do I have a motion?
Second.
All right. Thank you. Now, once again, see, we do the Dominican goodbyes. We say goodbye 5 times. Thank you so much.